Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful and, honestly, one of the most misunderstood personalities on the Enneagram, Type 8, the Challenger.
Let's just kick things off with a statement that really says it all. I bow to no one. Now, this isn't just arrogance, it's way deeper than that. It's this profound declaration of self-reliance, a flat-out refusal to be controlled. And that is the absolute core of the Type 8 identity.
So here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to figure out who the Challenger really is. Then, we'll look at the two very different faces of their power. We're going to peek behind that tough armor, see how they operate in relationships, and then, finally, map out their incredible journey toward becoming a wise protector.
Okay, first things first. Who is the Challenger? Let's get right into the fundamental motivation that makes them tick.
So this is absolutely crucial to get. 8s operate from this deep-seated belief that the world is a tough, harsh place. And if they're not strong, if they let their guard down, they'll just get crushed. This idea is what fuels that relentless need to protect themselves and to control their own destiny. It's why, in basically any situation, they're subconsciously asking, okay, who holds the power here?
And you can totally see this core drive play out in some very recognizable ways. They communicate with this startling, almost unfiltered directness. If there's a leadership vacuum in a room, they don't even think about it. They just instinctively step in. And they have absolutely zero tolerance for injustice, which makes them fiercely, fiercely protective of anyone they consider one of their people.
And this phrase just perfectly captures their role in any group, doesn't it? They are the ones who have the guts to confront the tough issues head-on, to literally put their fist on the table and say the uncomfortable truth that everybody else is too afraid to say out loud.
But here's the thing about that kind of strength. It's a real double-edged sword. And that brings us right to our next section, the two faces of power. We're about to see how their greatest assets are also directly linked to their biggest challenges.
What's so fascinating about 8s is how their greatest strengths are like a perfect mirror image of their potential risks. That incredible courage and decisiveness, that can easily tip over into being domineering and harsh. Their protective nature can actually lead them to see any vulnerability, whether it's in themselves or in others, as a weakness. And that passionate energy can all too quickly default to anger as their go-to tool for communication.
So as you can imagine, all of this leads to a major gap in perception. A Type 8 genuinely sees themselves as a fair warrior, just being totally honest to solve a problem. But from the outside, that exact same behavior can come across as intimidating, way too harsh, or even controlling. The intention is almost always about protection, but the impact? Well, the impact can feel a lot like aggression.
So what is really going on underneath that powerful exterior? Let's take a look. This is Section 3, the world behind the armor. And this is where we uncover the real driver behind all of their behavior. And here it is, this slide. This is the key to everything. For a Type 8, the absolute worst thing imaginable is feeling controlled, harmed, or left powerless. Their entire armored personality is a preemptive defense they've built to make sure that never, ever happens. And this core fear creates some really significant internal challenges. It makes it incredibly difficult for them to truly trust other people. It forces them to hide any little hint of personal vulnerability. They get trapped in this intense black and white worldview of either I control or I'm controlled. And crucially, softer emotions like hurt or sadness often get instantly converted into anger because, anger just feels safer and more powerful.
You can practically hear that inner voice, right? That constant internal command driving them. You must be strong, never show weakness, do not let anyone rule you. This is the immense internal pressure that keeps that defensive armor up, day in and day out.
Okay, so how does all of this intensity and this fear play out with other people? That's what we're covering next in Section 4, the Challenger in relationships. This is where their demands for loyalty and truth really take center stage.
When it comes to relationships, 8s have a very clear, non-negotiable code. They require absolute honesty. They demand unwavering loyalty, and they deeply respect people who have the strength to stand up for themselves even if it's against them. What they have zero patience for is any kind of backstabbing or passive aggression, just no time for it.
This contrast here just lays it all out perfectly. It shows you exactly what earns their respect versus what loses it. They admire a strong stance, raw authenticity, and courage.
On the flip side, they have this deep dislike for a victim mentality, any kind of two-faced behavior, and passivity. It really all boils down to this. For an 8, strength respects strength.
So finally, let's explore the path forward. This brings us to our last and maybe our most important section, the journey to the wise protector. This is really about the path to health and integration for a Type 8.
Because this whole journey is about transformation. The goal isn't to get rid of their strength, but to evolve it. So the real question becomes, how does a fearless warrior grow into a wise protector?
Well, the path involves 5 crucial steps. First, it's about learning to notice the vulnerability, the hurt or fear that's usually hiding just beneath the surface of the anger. Second, it's beginning to honor that vulnerability as a true form of strength, not weakness. Third, and this is a big one, is learning to share control and genuinely trust others. Fourth is practicing listening just to understand, not to immediately jump in with a solution. And finally, it's about channeling their immense strength, not just to protect their own inner circle, but to empower everyone around them.
And the result of this journey? It's actually really beautiful. The virtue of a healthy 8 emerges when their incredible power merges with mercy and a kind of innocence. They no longer feel that constant need to use their strength to control things. Instead, they use it to create a truly safe and empowering space for other people to thrive.
And it all really comes down to this. An evolved Type 8 doesn't lose their fire, they transform it. They grow from a fearless warrior into a wise protector. And in the end, they actually become the very source of safety and justice they fought so hard to find in the world. Thanks for digging into this with me.